Hello there, and welcome to GamePoints episode 165, our weekly little get-together where we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, David Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, we're going to talk about if E3 is actually still relevant given some recent news in addition to previous news that we've gone into. Anthem is still broken as all hell. Now, I know, we have bitched, and that is the appropriate word, bitched about Anthem for going since its launch almost a month ago. But it just keeps having issues, and I want to get into some of these because some of this shit's hilarious. And also, we have some good news on the Switch front. An amazing JRPG sounds like it's getting some more love as well. First and foremost, I do want to welcome everyone to the show who happens to be watching us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is an audience interactive podcast, so please feel free to jump in with any questions, comments, concerns, whatever topics you want to bring up, or just anything you want to chat about. I do try to get to all of you as I can. If you're happen to watch us on YouTube over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to comment down below. Kind of have the same effect just a couple days later. David.
Yes.
We took a look at Devil May Cry 5 over the weekend, did we not?
We did look at Devil May Cry 5. That is one flippin' video game.
It is. What are your thoughts on it? What are your first impressions on it?
Well, I'm kind of joking about it when I say it's a video game and don't give it any adjectives, but that's really what it feels like. It's just like an old school. It's a game where you fill up meters and it's like checkpoint based almost, going through levels. Go into a room, fight a bunch of enemies, get a score, go to the next room, fight a bunch of enemies, get a score. But it's also stupid stylish and really fun.
It is definitely over the top. By the way, Respect, thank you for showing up. Appreciate having you here. Devil May Cry 5 is very much the definition of a spectacle fighter. I don't know if I'm grooving on the new character too much, V. I like the idea behind him, how he doesn't attack directly. That's a cool idea. I don't know if it's 100% implemented well yet. I need to play more of it to fully see if I like him or not. I'm definitely on the fence with that. Everything else, though, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I am so glad to see that Capcom is back.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is this game is not disappointing to me.
Yeah, it is actually outright good.
And I don't think they intend it to be, but it's a game that released in the beginning of the year and is going to do great, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be doing very well for Capcom, which is great. It's almost like their mantra right now is just chanting "Don't be Konami" over and over and over again, and they certainly seem to be holding up to that.
Their whole plan is to release 2 good video games at the beginning of the year and then hopefully ride those the rest of the time. Because last year we got Resident Evil and then Monster Hunter. This year we get Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Maybe next year we'll get Resident Evil and Onimusha.
Well, they have mentioned that Resident Evil 8 is in the works. And they have floated the idea around. They're kind of gauging interest to see if they should remake other Resident Evils. Of course, Nemesis being the one that pops to my head out the gate.
Code Veronica.
It wouldn't take too much. Code Veronica I'd rather see before Nemesis. But I do expect more. That's a franchise that has new life breathed into it after seemingly dying off after 6, in my opinion. So
Code
glad
Veronica
to see that
for me is the
around.
game that doesn't get enough love from the Resident Evil series.
Well, that game's kind of the bastard game of the franchise because it was Dreamcast exclusive when it came out. It didn't really come out until PlayStation 2.
It was technically the third game.
Yep.
It came out after Resident Evil 2, but since it wasn't on mainline PlayStation, they called it Code Veronica, and then Resident Evil 3 was Nemesis.
Hold on. Was it the third game? Did it come out before
Yes.
Nemesis?
Yes.
It did? Okay.
You can look it up, but I'm 100% on that one.
Okay.
Because I would always call Code Veronica Resident Evil 3.
I'll take your word on it.
People would yell at me. But Resident Evil 3 kind of just felt like playing Resident Evil 2 again.
Yes.
It's just the B files of Resident Evil 2.
Right.
Again, you're in kind of the same location. Things are a little different. You fight some different monsters, but it really felt like the same game. Code Veronica actually felt different. Like it had more going on. It had kind of a more cinematic feel to it. You change locations. You go to flipping Antarctica later in that game, and it's rad.
No, Code Veronica was very cool. It's just a shame it was kind of isolated on, I don't want to call it a dead console out the gate, but it was kind of a dead console out the gate. Dreamcast had a bunch of issues.
Later, they remastered it and threw it on, well, I don't even think it was a remaster, but they re-released it on PlayStation 2, called it Code Veronica X, but I don't know how many people actually picked that game up.
Now, by then, old game is old.
Yeah, kind of.
So, That is good to see that Capcom's back. Devil May Cry 5, I think, has both of our seals of approval. I don't think either one of us has finished it yet, but from what we've seen so far, it's definitely worth your time. If you've been sitting on the fence, I would say go take a look at it. And with that, brings us to our first story of the week. And yes, I know this has been the first story of the past 4 weeks since it has come out.
Every week.
But there is nothing bigger at the moment than the total clusterfuck that has been Anthem.
Yep.
Is it Fallout 76 levels of bad? No, I don't think so, because Anthem's still technically playable with a lot of issues as opposed to Fallout 76, which was just busted and had issues beyond just the game itself. But it sure as hell isn't doing too well for sure.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. It's kind of funny because they almost feel like EA's trying to get people to not play the game.
Right. I've never seen a game
from
get
just a
in
base
its own way so
level.
often.
Yeah, it's even when they manage to make something work, it's the one step forward, two steps back thing.
Right, which brings us to a lot of the stories that happened this week. Now, a lot of this is coming from Reddit. A lot of this is anecdotal, but you also have big names saying, yeah, I can confirm this is happening as well, like streamers, influencers, journalists, etc. The first thing that really dropped last week that caught everyone's notice was the fact that level 1 weapons in the game, which apparently this has been patched out, but for a while there, someone did the math, and that the level 1 starting weapons were doing more damage than legendary weapons in the game. And the reason why is because the numbers that pop up when you shoot something are absolutely meaningless. They're just there to get people to think they're stronger as opposed to actually being stronger. Introspect in chat says he really wanted to get Anthem, but I may wait till it fix a lot of things first if they do. So I understand that sentiment, Introspect. I would say this is a game that if given 6 months' time, it could be amazing. So think like how the First Division was. Or Rainbow Six. But we'll definitely see. What do you feel about this damage numbers issue there, David?
I think it's hilarious. Now, I know that they say it's a bug because the way they were trying to have systems scale so that lower level players could play with higher level players. But in other games, they just tone down the higher level players so that they can play with the lower levels.
Right.
Or they artificially inflate the lower level players' like numbers so that they're on par.
Yeah,
but they did some weird system where, based on what gun you're shooting, it just scaled the enemy.
Right. There is something weird with how they did this.
Hilarious.
They did say it was a bug, and for all intents and purposes, it sounds like it has been fixed, but that is just the first of a myriad of problems that BioWare ran into with Anthem over the past week. Another one was over the past couple days, they were going to put in a patch that got rid of common and uncommon levels at item 30. So, to give you an idea whether this is a problem, let's say you run a stronghold, which is Anthem's really only end-game content right now. You would open up a chest that would have 5 to 4 pieces of loot in it, and by doing the rewards for the hardest quote-unquote piece of content in the game would drop fucking commons sometimes. So Anthem listened, or BioWare listened, they changed the way that drops into where they got rid of any greens and whites, essentially, during once you hit level 30. So you're not just filling up with all this crap you're not going to need. However, when they did that, they also ended up enhancing the drop rate of all the masterworks and legendaries in the game. So it was like raining loot for people. And then finally the community said, yes, this is what we have been looking for. A game that rewards us for our time. And it turned out it was a bug.
Yep.
Now the drop rate
toned it down.
Yeah, significantly. The drop rate is now like back to a minuscule, maybe one masterwork a run, and legendaries you might get after 2 or 3 days of grinding.
Here's a funny thing. Running the numbers, people have figured out that the fastest way to get like masterwork, legendary items, is not to run the quote-unquote end-game strongholds, where you have, the guaranteed chest at the end.
Right.
Your best bet to get legendaries is just to go into free play and shoot shit.
Yeah, trash mobs.
That, from just a pure design standpoint, is fucking garbage.
Right. I don't get... All of this just shows that Anthem was not ready for primetime to me. Because this is all shit that should have been figured out. And I know game design is hard. But this is clearly one of those things where they went, is it functional? Okay, throw it out.
This is where you could have playtesters and just hand it to anybody that's played an MMO or people that are actively playing Division or Destiny or a comparable type of game, and they'll get into it and say, "Oh man, endgame is garbage," or "Grinding is bad," or "This system doesn't feel right." And if they had all that feedback and still rushed it out, man, it goes back to the thing where if the company's being honest and they have to delay a game, the gamers won't get too angry. Some will, because some people are just assholes. But time and time again, people prefer a game that runs and works well than a buggy, broken mess that we are supposed to be the beta testers for.
Which is why I'm guiding people to Division right now, because links to Ubisoft aside, the Division apparently is launching in an excellent state. In fact, you can play it right now, and there's a lot of people praising it. Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and you've put time in Division,
yeah,
right?
I have played the Division. I played the Division about a month and a half ago, and it was good then.
There you go.
So time will tell to see if it's actually a solid game overall with everything in place. But so far, that's a game that seems to be shaping up to be ready day one. More on that later, though. Another issue that was happening is apparently crafting got harder to do in Anthem. When they were fiddling with all of this loot drop rate problems, they screwed up the crafting to where getting high-end materials, the drop rate of those dropped significantly from when they were even supposed to be. So let's say you get like a Masterwork Ember or a Masterwork Ember like once every 15 minutes or so. It went up to something like once every 2 hours. Like it dramatically dropped the drop rate for those.
That's so ridiculous.
Now, apparently that was a bug too, and that's supposed to be getting fixed. And then it doesn't deal with the issue that quick play missions, like let's hit this button and get right into thing. Most of the time now, those drop you into glitched missions. Because what happens is that 4 people will do a mission, the mission glitches out, an enemy doesn't spawn, people start dropping. Now you have all these open slots on that mission, so people fill them in with quick mission, and people keep getting put into missions that are broken.
Oh yeah, I remember reading your tweets about you trying to get into quick play and it just being a complete garbage mess.
All of this combined has led the community to kind of finally start organizing against Anthem, which is something you don't want to do. If you go to the official Anthem Reddit, or the unofficial, whatever the main Anthem Reddit is, there is a post with
I don't think anything on Reddit's official.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There is a post of 16,000 likes, and people are handing out gold and silver and platinum to this post saying, hey, this week, don't play Anthem. Let developers see how pissed off we are. And I'll be the first one to say, this kind of shit doesn't work. Because these people are going to say, I'm not going to play Anthem, but still end up playing Anthem. However, it is getting some traction. This isn't one of those random posts someone fires off on Reddit and everyone forgets about. There's a lot of support for this. You're seeing it pop up in articles of mainstream sites.
We're talking about it. And
we're talking about it. Yeah, we're a huge deal. There is this traction behind this movement of don't play Anthem until this shit gets resolved. And even if only 10 to 20% of the people follow what's going on here, that's a lot of people. And it doesn't help that if you bought EA Origin, like the $15 EA Origin to play Anthem early, that expires this week. And Division comes out. So if they're going to do it...
That's a damn good point. If you just spent the $15 to get a shot at it, right now there's not really any reason to re-up your subscription. Because you've already done all the strongholds, right? More or less, you are done with the content in the game, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All you have left to do is grind to min-max.
Yeah, there is one thing that you can do with these legendary challenges. I think it's called the Legend of something or other, to where it's like you do 100 strongholds and 50 quick play missions, of which you can't do because they're broken. So this is, if you want to hit EA over how fucked up Anthem is, this is the week to do a blackout week on. Because people's memberships are expiring, the Division 2 is out. The timing is great for this. So that's why I say this actually has some traction to it and might get some people to go, I'm done with Anthem. And with any luck, we are now done with Anthem on this show.
Unless they magically fix it. I mean, who knows? Maybe if EA decides not to close BioWare, a year from now we can be talking about the return of Anthem.
You know what? No Man's Sky at least was functional when it launched, and it didn't have. It was missing a lot of shit, but I don't think anything.
It was a
really
game that was
broken.
remarkably overhyped,
Yes.
and technically had a core game that was. You had an amount of stuff to do that rapidly got boring.
Yeah.
Kind of like Anthem. You have an amount of stuff to do that could rapidly get boring, except for the core gameplay is a little better.
Anthem's a little bit worse than that in the fact that it is actively riddled with bugs.
Yeah.
Like No Man's Sky, say what you will about it being boring or being overhyped, at least it's shipped. From my experience, I could be wrong. From my experience,
I
it
had
shipped
tons of issues
and
with
it
that
was
game.
okay.
But
Did you? Okay,
I had less
didn't have
issues
any
playing
problems
that
with
game than I did with just the demo of Anthem from the pre-launch weekend.
Fair enough. So yeah, with any luck, this will be the last week we talk about Anthem, unless something even bigger happens, because I think we've hit that point now where people are just getting over it. They're like, okay,
And there's one
whatever.
thing these guys can say, and EA, you gotta pat yourselves on the back for this one. Congratulations on officially dethroning Fallout 76 as our go-to game to shit on every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet Bethesda is thanking God they are no longer in the crosshairs.
No one is paying attention to that game. They could be slowly fixing it. That can come out amazing on the other side of this. Who knows?
While on the topic of EA, let's talk about how EA is skipping E3 this year, it seems, or at least no conference. They're going to have games on the show. But I want to parlay that into a greater discussion about the relevance of EA or E3. Sound good?
E3 is slowly dying in the sense that companies are realizing that spending a shit ton of money on a conference that goes for 3 days that's now open to the public and is kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, really, it's crowded, it's busy, it's expensive.
3 hours to play one game.
And then everybody has a 40-minute to an hour presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time,
sometimes 2 hours.
Before.
In the case of Ubisoft 1 year, I swear it was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, half the time all your stuff gets leaked before. Or
Yep.
in the case of EA, you announced literally nothing surprising. Like, I think Anthem was their only thing they talked about last year, and
Yeah, but we all knew that was coming. They teased Dragon Age 4.
okay,
Or was that at Spike? Or not Spike, the VGAs. I think that was at E3. Either way, what's bringing up in this conversation is that EA announced on their blog, and we'll read you the actual blog post here. While announcing their EA Play for 2019, EA Play, by the way, is kind of like their
Nintendo
mini
Direct.
E3 they hold. Yeah, kind of. While announcing their EA Play for 2019, EA stated that, quote, "We're skipping the press conference this year and replacing it with multiple live streams that were aired during the first 2 days of the event," end quote. So they're still going to have games on the show floor at E3. But they're not going to do the conference anymore. They are joining Sony, who is just flat out not going to be at E3 at all. Sony's going to end up doing their own event, likely, to push their console, because they want that show space on their own.
Yep.
Ubisoft hasn't announced anything official yet. Bethesda hasn't announced anything official yet. Square hasn't announced anything official. They tend to do something. Square Enix maybe not a big conference, but
importantly,
something smaller.
confirmed to have a conference for E3, Devolver Digital.
Yes, but Devolver Digital is, if anything,
Their own.
lampooning E3 than anything else.
Their own animal, yeah.
So that brought up the idea I want to talk about is if E3 is relevant anymore still. And you say it's dying. It's definitely not the powerhouse it used to be, and I'll give it that. Because
I'm saying in the state it's in, or the way it was, it's not the end all be all game show
no, absolutely
that
not.
it was, 5 years, 10 years ago.
And thank you for dropping by requirement. I understand Wi-Fi issues. So, yeah, it used to be for years and years and years that E3 was the one gaming event. You'd also have like Tokyo Game Show and CES to a lesser degree, but over the years that's become less game related. And maybe Gamescom out in Germany. And that was it. Now we have like a major expo every goddamn month. And
It feels like
Nintendo actually got ahead of the game on this one of the few times you can say that they were ahead of the curve and started doing their directs. Extremely popular. They can control 100% of the message. They usually go, okay, tomorrow we have a new direct coming. And then people are there watching it and
Also,
get shared around.
The directs are fantastic because it's, 4 to 20 minutes of just straight games.
Yeah.
No filler. Sometimes a dev interview. Sometimes somebody talking for a little bit. But it's not, here's a musical number. Here's some
Right.
people playing competitive phone games. Here's some
Right.
like no extra bullshit.
And think
It's just,
about how much money that costs. Like when Sony last year, let's use Sony's disastrous E3 last year, when they only talked about 4 games,
yep.
and they had like these custom built stages. They had the
Oh man,
the master of that
nightmare
instrument come out.
downtime from
Yeah,
a
with the
moving
30-minute
Last of Us
downtime.
2's presentation. That was insane.
They paid to have that master. I wish I can remember the instrument that he played come out for.
Oh, dude, that guy was boss though.
What's
that
that
was
game
the best
called?
part. Sekiro.
No, it's not Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Oh,
It's the Sucker Punch game.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, they had him come out. That shit costs a lot of money. Not to mention the venues that you're renting out during an E3 conference. So you can cut all that out. You can cut out the space that you're paying for E3 and just do it. And you can create this 10 to 20 minute video that hits everything that you want. And you get to control 100% of the message. And you don't have to worry about people being in the audience or shit getting leaked because it's all internal. Or at least it reduces the likelihood of it getting leaked. So I can see why less and less conferences are happening. But I think it's a little early to say E3 is dying. Because EA, for example, is still going to have games on the show floor there. It is still going to be a hub for a bunch of people to descend on it. And it's going to be the first time a lot of games are going to get shown off publicly. So, for example, this E3 this year in 2019, I fully expect Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order to be playable. Especially if it's coming out later this year.
We'll see. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's dying, but I am going to say it's no longer as relevant as it used to be.
I'm wondering how many things will be saved for, like, the VGAs.
I don't know.
Reveals.
That's all Jeff Keighley. The VGAs is all, or the Game Awards, as it's called now. That's all Jeff Keighley and his
Contact list?
his influence machine, as it were. Yeah,
Yeah.
his contact list. And he's kind of like, if Jeff Keighley were to leave the Game Awards, that would not exist anymore.
Oh, it would just shut down the next day.
Yeah, he is the driving force behind that. So, all of this said, there is one thing to really keep an eye out for E3 2019, and that is Microsoft, because they are doing a conference. And for as far as we can tell, they're really the only big name doing a conference, which means all eyes are going to be fixed upon them.
They will finally get their year. And they get a win an E3.
Yes. And well, I'd say they won E3 last year, too, to be quite honest with you.
I think they did as well, but I mean a full-on stomp.
Yeah.
Because you could go back a couple of years, and there's some times when Sony just stomped Microsoft.
Yeah. But you know this is the year they're going to roll out their consoles.
They have to at least talk about it.
And
we already had rumors of another Xbox One X that comes out without a disc drive. It's going to be, local storage only, downloadable games, all that good stuff.
All rumors, of course, nothing official, but that sounds legit to me.
Another nail in the GameStop coffin.
And they have the opportunity to really seize upon this, because this is going to be the first year E3 is really cutting back on or people are cutting their conferences for E3. So you still have people who are going to be going, hey, what's the E3 coverage? They don't have that expectation of, oh, Sony's not doing something, EA's not doing something. You're still going to have those people looking for the conferences. After this year, the impact is going to be less, because people are just going to be expecting places not to do conferences anymore. So right now is like the perfect time for them to do their big console reveals, because they have all the oxygen.
That's true. My bold prediction is they don't show off the Xbox One 2.
Whatever it's going to be called.
Fuck you want to call that. And instead show off what they've been working on for stream services, and have like the Xbox Stream or whatever. That's a box that you buy. That's like $100 that you then pay for the Xbox Live Game Pass. So, you spend $20 a month, $30 a month, whatever the hell that is. You plug in this box the size of an Apple TV to your television, and you play all of their fucking games streamed from their servers.
I fully expect something like that. Something that's going to be sub $200 that gives you access to the entire Microsoft library. Or at least the people who are willing to play ball. I fully expect something like that.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
And you know what? Microsoft's ballsy enough, they might give those consoles out for free. They might go with a 2-year commitment to Game Pass. You can have this for free. Like, think old cell phones of old. Back when cell phones used to do you get a free phone if you sign up for a 2-year contract. I fully see Microsoft going down that route. I could see them doing
it. And then throw on all the old school shit in their library.
Yeah.
Like, not just Xbox One games, but throw on the Xbox 360 and all their...
Say what you will, but Microsoft still, as of like last week, is announcing more and more games that were backwards compatible on Games Pass and shit.
I would probably buy that, just straight up.
Yeah.
Why not?
I absolutely hear that coming. Introspect says he's waiting to hear about forward compatibility. That kind of a box would, if it's designed just to stream games, would eliminate the need to ever buy another console again, unless you wanted like faster streaming hardware.
I was gonna say, unless you needed some kind of add-on to make it so that the internet connection was beefier.
Yeah, it would be
or whatever it uses to render the TV is stronger.
You would buy the console to get like a bigger hard drive or a better Wi-Fi connection. You wouldn't buy it for a better graphics chip.
Oh, come on, man! It's Microsoft. These are the old school PC kids. If you can't just put a new hard drive in it, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm just saying that is why you would do that. Because there are some people who are like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't know anything about it. Let's let me buy the new thing. Because we know how to put a new hard drive in a console. But a lot of people don't. And a lot of people are willing to go, I'll just buy the new one 3 years from now.
They can buy an external. They'll be fine. I believe in them.
I don't. That's fair. So, yeah, that is going to be really interesting to see this year at E3, to see what Microsoft does specifically, because I fully expect this stuff to happen. And I'm actually eagerly looking forward to what Microsoft rolls out at E3, since they're really the only game in town. Ubisoft, Bethesda Square aside. Yes, and of course, let us know what you think and predictions down below, either in chat live or in the comments down.
Anybody who has a correct prediction will get this from GamePoints. You ready? Nothing. But the pure joy of watching our show, Mondays at 8 p.m.
Dave, why don't you go ahead and lead us off on our next story here?
Hey, so a little while ago, several months ago, almost a year ago, Square pulled a surprise hit out of their ass and released a 2D RPG for the Switch called Octopath Traveller.
Now, was not... Go ahead.
That game is gorgeous.
Yes, I will absolutely agree it was gorgeous.
And it's got, a good soundtrack.
Good soundtrack, definitely.
And it's an old school RPG that has a horrible mess of a story where the characters aren't related at all.
Yes, and that's my biggest problem with it.
It feels like a Super Nintendo game.
Yes,
and
absolutely
dear
does.
God, if at any point they just announced that they were remaking Final Fantasy VI in the Octopath engine, I would just give them all of my money.
That would sell me a console if I didn't already own it. Dr. Hugo, by the way, thank you for showing up. It's been a while since I've seen you. Glad to have you here.
I'd buy an extra console for a friend and tell them to play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I would go out of my way to support that specifically.
But a lot of people liked it. It sold decently well. And story complaints aside, it was pretty popular. I know a lot of people that love that game, even with the weird character lack of interaction thing. Hey, Salty Frank. And in news this week from Eurogamer, we are getting a prequel for mobile.
Yeah.
So Octopath Traveller fans are having quite a day, along with celebrating 1.5 million units shipped globally. Square Enix has announced a brand new game for the series. And it's a prequel called Octopath Traveller, Champions of the Continent. Free to download title will release on iOS and Android in 2019, at least in Japan.
No official word on if it's going to the US or not. I can't see why it wouldn't, considering how well Octopath Traveller did here. Square really loves their mobile games. I just wish they put more effort into them.
Okay, I'm going to take a breath because I don't need to rant hard on this shit. But I think I've done it before. Square's mobile strategy pisses me the fuck off. Because the games are either chock full of annoying microtransactions, which I guarantee this one will be because it's a free-to-play fucking game.
Yep.
Or it's a game that you can buy on any other device for half the price.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy V is $24 on my phone for some fucking reason, even though you can buy it for $14 on Steam.
No, it's ridiculous. I hate their mobile offerings. I hate what they did to their classic games. I hate that weird like Vaseline sheen they slapped on Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger and all that other stuff.
They made everything look like it was built for iPhone, and that's why I refuse to buy any of these remasters on Steam or even Switch. Man, I did not pick up Final Fantasy IX for Switch, which seems like a tragedy because I don't like the way it looks, and I don't like the fact that they used the
goddamn
crappy
mobile port.
MIDI music files from the original PC release.
Yeah, I'm so bothered by their mobile ports. It's not even funny.
Just start. If you're gonna be this lazy, just port the damn Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah, I don't know why they just couldn't do that. I hate that they do it the way they do, and none of this even begins to touch on the travesty that was Final Fantasy All the Bravest. And if you don't know what that is, just look at people
blocked that out.
About that. So, all that said, if you hate the fact that new Octopath Traveler is coming for mobile phones, don't be discouraged. Further in the article, they did remind us all that Square Enix's Tomoya Asano previously mentioned the possibility of a sequel in an interview with Famitsu back in September. Although it sounds like players will be waiting for a fair while for this. He said the following: "Everyone waiting for a new game on console will sorry, but production will take a little longer." And that was from the Octopath Traveler Twitter account as of the 7th, a couple days ago. So they are openly saying, hey, there is more Octopath coming, but the mobile game is going to be out first. So let's just ignore the mobile game. Unless, hey, you know what? I don't even want to say ignore the mobile game. There are people who legitimately like those. And more power to you if you're into it. It is definitely not for me. I'm pretty sure it's not for David here. But yeah. I hope when this new Octopath Traveler comes out, Noino Path, or what would be the 9?
They're gonna kill off one of the guys. It's Septuple Traveler.
Septuple Traveler.
I don't know.
Whenever that game comes out, I'm sure it'll be good. I just hope they fix the story issues, because my biggest problem with Octopath Traveler is that for the most part is just 8 separate stories that aren't really connected. And yes, I know.
There's like
at
a
the
post-game
end,
dungeon
it all
you
times
can go
up
to
at the
that
end.
ties together, but that does not acknowledge the fact that these characters have been just ignoring each other, and the game could be so much better if they just didn't.
And the biggest problem I had with Octopath Traveler is that all their stories are not equal. Like, half of them are just completely boring as all hell. The other half is good. Like, the dancer, who's, like, just out to murder the dude that killed her father. That one was amazing. But the priestess one, whose name I can't remember, I could care less about that.
See, what's funny is when the demo for that game came out, the way they had their demo built is you could just play it for, I think it was 2 or 3 hours solid. And you had access to the whole game, whatever you can get to in that amount of time. But if you just install it on another profile on your Switch, you can start over.
Really?
So I literally just went through, like, 4 or 5 different character stories.
I didn't know you could do that. That's hilarious.
So I never bought the game because I didn't need to, because the characters have no interactions. It's like, okay, yes, I don't know what happens to 3 or 4 of the people. And it seems like I don't really need to find out.
No, it's a bunch, it's an anthology series all wrapped up in one game, and not all of them are that good.
Magical witch from the future who's trying to destroy all timelines that you have to unite and fight at the end of the game. There's not a giant glowing orb that's somehow sucking power out of the world that no one knew about until 20 minutes ago that you have to go fight.
Why did you pick the boss to Final Fantasy VIII, man?
And then I jumped to the one from 9.
So many more things. Anyways, more Octopath coming, both mobile and another game. Let's see. Introspect says you couldn't pay that much for Octopath either. Yeah, it's a great start, and I want to see that engine used in themes that aren't Octopath Traveler. And Nintendo did copyright that look. There's a specific term they copyrighted. It's like 2.5D or something like that.
It looks amazing.
It does. It looks real good. So, more Octopath is coming
sale right now, technically. But we'll get to that.
But in the meantime, we have something else from Nintendo coming up, and I can't believe that they're sticking with this. I am flat out shocked. Turns out
it's not dead?
No,
Dude,
turns out we have more LABO coming. Now, I thought LABO was dead because it's been so long since Nintendo's talked about anything from it. If you don't remember, LABO was essentially Nintendo selling y'all cardboard.
Yeah.
You remember LABO?
totally rad cardboard games.
Yeah.
That you could then print onto new pieces of cardboard when your kids break it. It's like the perfect Toys to Life game.
And I'll be
Because
first
you just
one to
need
admit,
cardboard.
yeah, I'll be the first one to admit, LABO was not for adults. It was for kids, and I can see if you're a kid, a lot of appeal here. But it kind of came and went with little fanfare after it was released. People stopped talking about it, and I thought it was dead. I thought Nintendo moved on past this, but no, they have something new coming from LABO. Let me actually pull up this picture here so you guys can take a look at it. I give you the LABO VR kit, and goddamn, does this look ridiculous.
It's fantastic, dude. This is the greatest thing they've ever made. I cannot wait to have a giant bazooka on my face.
Oh, not the elephant trunk?
No, dude, the bazooka's way better.
I'm
gonna play it while we're driving down the highway.
I kind of want to say this is nothing but glorified Google Cardboard, but it looks like it does come with like some lenses here. I don't know the exact specs on this goddamn thing. It can't be too complex.
No,
because I refuse to believe this is going to sell for anything more than like $90. But hey, LABO, still around.
The Switch screen can only do so much, but man, who doesn't want a Switch screen on their face? This is just, it's just terrific is what it is. Now, all they have to do to make this thing sell at gangbusters, because if you notice, this LABO kit comes with a camera, right? Mm-hmm. There's that one little dude that's got a camera on his face, and he's taking pictures of something. Now, if they just re-release or make a new version of Pokemon Snap exclusive
to
Nintendo LABO,
yeah, that would
that
sell
shit
things
would
hard.
sell.
I don't think they would restrict the Pokemon game to just LABO, though. They would want that to the biggest audience possible. Now, what they can do is make an add-on for LABO. Here's your Pokemon-themed LABO.
Oh, yeah. Pokemon LABO.
Yeah.
It comes with a camera, and then you can make different Pocket Monsters.
Coco Taco says he bought a phone VR headset for $15. That's kind of... I like the viewfinder of the future comment there in respect. That's kind of what this looks like, though, right? It looks like a phone VR headset, but it does have those lenses there. I want to know exactly how this operates. It's just like when LABO came out the first time.
How does this work? This is not for us, but we are curious.
Yeah, I want to get a hold of it. I want to build the stuff, but I'll be damned if I'm paying any money for it. Because I am not... I know Nintendo literally could sell iced Eskimos at this point, but I am not fucking paying for cardboard. I am not paying for product that ships the product that I actually buy.
Yeah.
But hey.
But it's the perfect toy. You can use the box it comes in.
Once again, I will straight up admit, LABO is not for us. It's probably not for any of you. It is clearly designed for like your under 12 crowd.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has been a while, Cook for Tacos. Glad to see you back in chat. I always like seeing all the old guard come by again. It's nice. I start wondering, will people wander off to after a while, to use the same word twice but in different context.
Perfect. That's a great job.
Yeah.
I just like it because it makes me feel loved.
Next topic.
Anyway, let's talk about my favorite video game that is absolutely not going to release before Last of Us 2, thus making me win a bet, but also sad that I didn't get to play it first, and that's Death Stranding. Death Stranding is the game that is being put together by Hideo Kojima of Metal Gear Solid fame when he got let go, fired, went on extended sabbatical, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, depending on who you talk to, it's a different thing.
Konami did to this guy. He walked over to Sony and started making a game. And we had a flippin' awesome article from months back about how the Guerrilla Games devs, the guys that put together Horizon Zero Dawn, just showed up with a flash drive with that game engine on it and gave it to Kojima, said, please use our engine.
I think it's called the Decima engine. I'm not positive on that.
I think that's what they're calling it now that they're working on it together.
Right.
Because he's working with them to like build the engine that this game's coming out in. And in a recent article from IGN, Death Stranding, according to Kojima himself, has fallen slightly behind their internal planned release date. He made a statement in an interview with J-Wave, which was then translated by IGN Japan. Kojima explains, it's common for studios to fall behind their planned release date, and Death Stranding is very slightly behind our initial plan, but not behind by much. And that's exactly how he put it. So
let's be real here. This is Hideo Kojima.
This game
this isn't the first time this is going to get delayed. Yeah, it's going to get delayed and then delayed and delayed. This thing is going to miss its original target by a minimum of 2 years. We're not going to see it until 2021 on the early side of things.
And at least I'll have that free dinner to keep me company.
We'll see about that.
I know that you refuse to honor the bet until I go back and actually find the episode.
Yeah, I
am
the
lazy.
I want the exact details behind that, and it can't officially be claimed on until Last of Us 2 comes out.
That's true.
So we'll definitely take a look at that.
One of these days, I'll get really bored and watch hours and hours of our old footage.
Real Pie Master was doing that. A man who I haven't seen floating around in a long time, unfortunately. But I do know he was doing that. I wish him well. Let's go ahead and do a hard break into the next story here. This is kind of something that I've been keeping an eye on over the past, 2 years now at this point. And it seems like we finally reached the end of this saga. The next topic is going to be via Reuters. And it looks like Vivendi has completely pulled out of Ubisoft, ending a long hostile takeover bid. So if you remember, way back when, Vivendi used to own part of Activision Blizzard. They divorced, but Vivendi never wanted to get out of the game, so they started gobbling up shares of Ubisoft. They started gobbling up more and more and more. They almost hit that 40% ownership level that would have forced a intent to buy statement. And the Guillemot family really didn't like that idea. So the people who run Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot and his family, were fighting Vivendi over who gets control over this company. Eventually, the Guillemot family wins that fight. Vivendi starts scaling back, and as of last week, Vivendi is now officially completely divested from Ubisoft. From the article itself, media conglomerate Vivendi has sold its remaining shares in video games company Ubisoft, making a capital gain of 220 million euros, roughly 250 million here. Vivendi said on Tuesday that remaining shares representing a 5.9% stake in Ubisoft, it sold the whole stake for 429 million euros. I know that's a bunch of numbers. All you need to know is that Vivendi is out. They're out. A quote from Vivendi. Vivendi is no longer a Ubisoft shareholder and maintains its commitment to refrain from purchasing Ubisoft shares for a period of 5 years, end quote. With this, for at least 5 years, this ends Vivendi's attempt to do a hostile takeover on Ubisoft.
Which also ends our constant coverage of what potentially could have been a minor interesting thing, but instead remained a not interesting thing.
Hey, I
don't get me wrong.
I like
I like Ubisoft. I don't like Vivendi. We've talked about stuff that Vivendi's owned before, that the way they manage things is a little... I'm going to go with allegedly. I'll throw that out there. Bad.
Fair enough.
Just because there was stuff back in the day that companies they were involved with I didn't love. So I didn't love the idea of Ubisoft getting bought out by them, because I think that Ubisoft has been in kind of an uptick since the days of their games being just broken garbage messes, and the yearly episodic Assassin's Creed games and just stuff that they were doing a while ago.
Although they kind of are back on the yearly episodic Assassin's Creed train again. They took a year off, which they had the balls to say, we need to take a year off, though. Ubisoft seems to be walking that fine line between big AAA.
It's been way better.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Ubisoft walks that fine line between AAA bullshit that you see from EA and Activision, and
like
I lost my train of thought there.
Like smaller developer.
They are
content?
still, you can still call them like a soulless, heartless company. I can understand that, but at least they seem to kind of give a fuck. Like, they still have a lot of microtransactions. They have the season pass bullshit. Look no farther than Division for their multi-tiered release dates, which we'll talk about later.
That Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War game.
That was WB.
Whatever the second one.
That was WB.
Oh, was that?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it? Oh, I thought it was published by Ubisoft.
No, that was WB. But that's a different thing.
I'm good.
They have a lot of things to rightfully lambaste them on. But they make a lot of good decisions, too. It's not just a non-stop hammering of bullshit, it seems. And look no further than Division 2, which apparently has launched. Once again, more details on that later as I rant a bad thing about Ubisoft. But apparently it's launched with no problems and a lot of content.
Sweet.
So they seem to know what to do, at least. So I'm glad to see them fight off Vivendi coming in.
And at some point, they'll release Skull and Bones to an audience that is not really that interested anymore.
No, I don't care anymore.
Most importantly, Ubisoft are the ones that put Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune on your Switch. So, I'm stoked. Thanks, guys.
Dark Hugo says Siege has a season pass that is more expensive than the actual game, at least here in Brazil. Yeah, Dr. Hugo, because the game itself is kind of the entry price. They want you to get in there, and what they're making money on is selling you the season pass. Now, if you want to talk about season passes and buying a game that still has season passes, that's another topic. I understand that people hate that, and I can see why. I don't like the fee to play quality either of game, where you have to pay for a game up front, and then they still keep giving you like season passes and shit.
Oh, and
That's
I
something
mean,
I
this
can
is
rant
Ubisoft,
about.
so they're still good at having just ridiculous releases. Remember, Ubisoft are the guys that put out Watch Dogs, and if we go back long enough, we can talk about the 1,700,000 different editions of that game you could have bought at launch.
And for the good thing, guys, about Division 2, look no further than the fucking spreadsheet you have to look at to find out what version of Division gets you what too. So for every good thing Ubisoft does, they do a bad thing. But at least it's not all bad things. There's a weird give and take. It's like a love and hate relationship I have with Ubisoft.
Yeah, the games I think are solid. Their pricing is less, and Siege I think is a great example because Siege is the game where the base game was then later changed to be the advanced edition, and then they released a starter edition on PC that was like $14, but they literally built more grind into the game so that it took longer to unlock the operators unless you paid cash for it. To make it worse, if you bought the starter edition on PC, there was no option to upgrade to the standard or like ultimate edition. You just couldn't. So you were stuck with the extra grindy version.
That I didn't know. That's kind of messed up.
Yep.
And that's what I'm talking about. This weird love and hate relationship. For everything the good they do at least something bad. And I will always remember seeing their pre-order store at PAX, which just pissed me right off. But to tie it all back to what we're getting at, Ubisoft is one of the better, in quotes, AAA companies out there, in my opinion. And I'm kind of glad to see it not getting shittier by Vivendi coming in. And it looks like this saga is also finally over. So much like the Anthem conversation earlier, this is likely the last time we will address the Vivendi Ubisoft hostile takeover news.
All right, well, let's go into more news that we're going to stop talking about for a minute, but definitely going to come back to at some point in the near future.
Oh, I'm sure we
This from one of our favorite sources, The Hollywood Reporter.
Number one source of video game news, The Hollywood Reporter.
The lawsuits, the multiple lawsuits that were against Fortnite dances have been temporarily dropped. If you may be aware, if you've seen our show before, there was some lawsuits going on against a bunch of people were suing Epic Games for the dances in game.
This kind of all started off with Carlton suing Fortnite.
Yep, because there was no license fees or copyright infringement.
Yeah, we had that conversation about whether or not someone can copyright a dance or not.
And that's the fun part, is because that specifically hasn't been answered yet, and that is why the lawsuits are being dropped.
Yes.
So,
well, not dropped, put on hold temporarily.
Correct. They're not completely dropped because that means they wouldn't be able to reapply them. They are just on hold so that they're not current, but they can come back. But this comes days after the U.S. Supreme Court held a unanimous decision that under the Copyright Act, a plaintiff can't sue for copyright infringement until the U.S. Copyright Office has either granted or refused the person's application for registration.
So
basically what that means is you can't sue for copyright violation for a thing you don't have the copyright to.
It would be very interesting to see.
That seems like something they should have told Harmony Gold 13 fucking years ago.
This also, I was going to go different. I wonder if this is going to affect the Stardock and Paul and Fred Star Control nonsense that's going on.
I wonder if this is going to affect the ability of NBA players to have their own tattoos in the NBA Jam series or live series or whatever.
Yeah, now that I think about it, this could have far greater reach than what we're just seeing right here. I didn't even think about that until we started getting into this. Full disclosure, neither one of us are lawyers. We barely know what the fuck we're talking about. There's things that we do know, so take anything we're saying with a grain of salt.
We make it up as we go, but we sound pretty convincing because our microphones aren't the worst. No. Anyway, the U.S. Copyright Office in February declined to register the Carlton dance. It's not an unusual dance, if you remember.
Yeah.
Finding it to be merely a simple dance routine. Alfonso Ribeiro being the guy who played Carlton back in the day, sued Epic Games in December. Also, rapper 2 Milli on Thursday dropped his lawsuit against Epic over the use of his moves, as did Internet Phenoms. God, I hate the Hollywood Reporter. Backpack Kid and Orange Shirt Kid.
I
All
have no
four
idea who they
voluntary
are, by the way.
dismissals were without prejudice and can be refiled. Orange Shirt Kid, if you remember, is the guy that had the contest to add a dance to Fortnite, and the guy
Oh, right,
didn't
right.
win the contest, but there was like a fan petition, and they put it in anyway, and he was stoked. And then his mom's like, "Fuck that! They can't take your dance unless they give us money," because she was called by Pierce Bainbridge or whoever the lawyer is that was representing everybody else, and so they jumped onto that lawsuit.
You make a good.
Also,
you bring up
important
something
to
good
note,
though. Yeah. Go ahead.
each one of these plaintiffs were all represented by the same lawyer.
Which to me sounds like a lawyer just fishing to get settlements, and he's going to any long shot case that he can and trying to put them all into one class action.
Yep.
Which should probably give you an idea of how these people actually feel behind it.
It's a weird ambulance chase, except for instead of chasing an ambulance, they're chasing Epic because Epic is making all the damn money.
Yeah, Fortnite. I mean, it's Fortnite money. If Fortnite wasn't making as much money as it did, this would not have come up. They're hoping for a settlement.
And don't get me
Epic said
wrong,
nah.
Apex Legends is doing fantastic. Fortnite is still king.
Notice Apex Legends doesn't have dance moves in it
Yeah, genius.
because of this.
And there's other games that have come out and they said we're not gonna have dances.
Yep. So thank you, law firm. You kind of fucked that for everyone, didn't you?
Wah wah.
Anyways, I do want to ask this question, though, of both chat and if you're watching on YouTube. Do you think that people's dances should be allowed to be copyrighted? I don't care what the Copyright Office said about Alfonso Ribeiro because it was just a simple dance. Let me know what you think. If you had unlimited power when it came to making this decision, would you allow Carlton to copyright his dance or not?
Also, since we're bringing that up again, I want to ask one more time if you believe that a person's tattoos are the property, I guess, of the person that the tattoo is on, or of the original tattooist who drew it, because that is the other lawsuit that I feel like this all is going to apply to.
It's going to be very interesting how that shakes out.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, either way, let us know what you think down in the chat below or here live at twitch.tv/GamePoints if you're watching us right now. David.
Also, Introspect, yes, the legendary teabag will stay. That is
of course.
Classic.
This brings us to our last story of the night. Kind of a nice little feel-good story, in my opinion. It looks like Blizzard is letting its classic games on GOG.
GOG, good old games.
As of a couple days ago.
If we call back, I love them because their games are DRM free, and that's what you really need to take away from them.
Yes, exactly. From the blog post from Blizzard itself. Today, a couple days ago, players can once again explore this timeless Blizzard classic as it becomes digitally available DRM free for the first time ever. Of course, that timeless digital classic they're referring to is the original Diablo. Not Diablo 2, Diablo 1.
HD resolution, compatibility fixes.
Diablo has been lovingly preserved in its original form, featuring HD resolution support and compatibility fixes brought to you by the good old games to ensure compatibility with modern PCs. Yes, I know you just said that, but I wanted to read the blog post itself.
I know. That's also my favorite part about them is because GOG, before Galaxy existed, before they were trying to throw down with Steam, which I know they're not really, but come on, let me believe.
They're neat.
Their big thing was preserving old games. They made the old games that, you know, were on Windows 95 and whatever else that you had on CD-ROM that you could get to work, or floppy, actually run on modern machines without you needing to install an emulator and do all kinds of crazy shit. It's just
right. Here's
this
this game
and it's
exactly as you remember, but you don't have to do some weird trick. Like, for example, System Shock 2, until recently, until you can buy it like on Steam and good old games, if I have the disc of that, and to get that game to work on modern PCs without crashing was a bitch and a half.
Dude, for me, it was total annihilation. I still own the discs of that game, and if I put it in my computer, it's just like, what the hell are you doing? Also, my computer will be mad because it doesn't have a disk drive, and I'm just putting it in there. But
fair enough. A couple questions come from this, though. And they do have a Q&A down below, and I'll go through and address them. One of the fracks was, will Diablo be available on the Blizzard Battle.net app? Their answer is no, Diablo will not be available for sale or download through the Battle.net app. Why not?
Cool.
This makes no sense to me. Why? Is it because Blizzard doesn't want to operate like the servers or something? Like, why is this not for sale
probably
through Battle.net
they
itself?
probably just licensed it to GOG, and GOG is going to sell it DRM free, and then you can install it and play and enjoy it. Whereas anything on Battle.net is probably going to require you to be connected to Battle.net, and if you lose your Battle.net account, you lose your game.
Good night, Coco for Tacos. Thanks for showing up. But I'm still pretty sure you can play this online. So is GOG paying for the servers, or I
That's what I feel like it is because they host plenty of other servers.
They
Besides some
might.
games they have that connect to Steam.
It just doesn't make any sense to me why they're not selling this on Battle.net as well. I don't get it. It feels like leaving money on the table. Not that they're going to make too much money from this to begin with.
Yep.
Wynn also asked if Hellfire, which is Diablo's expansion, is coming. No, they have no plans to bring Hellfire to GOG at this time. Are other Blizzard games coming? They said yes. They are announced the original Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, and Warcraft 2. More information revealed at a later date. Awesome. However, I will point this out. If they're not bringing the expansion to Diablo Hellfire to GOG, will they bring the expansion to Warcraft 2 Beyond the Dark Portal to GOG?
Probably not.
Yeah, that
even weirder, I guess.
Yeah, because that actually is canonically important. Diablo, as far as Diablo's story goes, you can skip Hellfire.
My favorite question is Diablo 2 coming to GOG?
Well,
and the
probably
answer was
not.
Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction are currently available for purchase digitally on the Battle.net shop. We have no additional announcements at this time. Because right now, you can't buy Diablo from Battle.net. You can buy Diablo 2.
Yes.
And so it's like this weird disconnect where it's just not licensed, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird. And another thing that feels weird is why wasn't this announced at BlizzCon? It's not big news, but it kind of properly would have at least blunted the Diablo Immortal announcement that happened and made it go down a little bit smoother. This whole thing feels like damage control. To me, this feels like a last minute, like, oh shit, we need to get some goodwill for Diablo franchise. I know, let's put it free, or not free, but let's put it on GOG with DRM free.
Yeah.
It feels like a...
Good old goodwill.
Yeah, it feels like a panic goodwill response. A welcome one, a good one, but I'm just confused with how they rolled this out. It feels reactionary, and I'm not sure if I'm into that. David.
Yes.
There is one more thing before we get into new releases that you want to talk about.
Oh, actually, there's one thing I have to get to before we do that, because I did promise chat that we would address the elephant in the room, which is your new headset.
Yes, I did get a new headset. They are the Arctis 7 SteelSeries. I did see someone ask if they were SteelSeries, and I just couldn't find a good way to bring it in there. So yes, I did get new headphones.
What do you think?
They're amazing.
How do you like them?
Way better than the Razer ones. How comfortable
are they?
Extremely comfortable. I would recommend them. I want to say I spent like $120, maybe $100 on them. I don't remember off the top of my head.
How would you rate the toggle that can change between game audio and voice?
It's real good. Most of the times on headsets, when it has that toggle for voice and game chat, it never really worked too well. On this, it works just fine. It's the first time I've ever experienced that function working on a headset before.
There you go. You're welcome. I had to bring it up because I told him to buy it, so I feel real good about it. Okay. Anyway, normally this is where I get immediately into new releases because, you know, all this is in the future, and we didn't know what we can play now. One little quick side thing is March 10th was yesterday, which another name for that is Mario Day, because MAR10, if you put it together, kind of looks like Mario.
Yeah.
And there's sales.
You want to talk
Nintendo?
About the most made up fucking holidays?
Yeah, I don't even know when this fucking existed.
It didn't. I don't think this. I know it existed last year, but I think that was the first time I heard of it.
I guess so. Anyway, there's some sales going on. One thing I wanted to bring up, because these games are never on sale, so they have like a whole package where you can buy a Switch and like one of the big Mario games for $329 or something like that, which is a decent savings. But more importantly, all of the Mario games on Switch are actually on sale for $40. So Mario Party, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Tennis Aces, and new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe are $40, which is ridiculous because first-party like Mario or Nintendo games
they never go
on
sale. So if you've been sitting on the fence on buying one of those, probably a good time to get them.
To me, that's actually the biggest story of the week. There's Mario games that are $20 off. And then Mario and Rabbids, which is not Nintendo but a Ubisoft game, is like $20. The weird thing is that none of the games are on sale on the eShop. So if you actually turn on your Switch and go to the eShop, you won't find them on sale at all. You have to buy them from a retailer like Walmart or Target or Amazon or something, but you buy the digital codes. So it's still a digital copy. You still download it to your Switch. You just redeem it in the Nintendo eShop. And you still get all the coins as if you bought it full price.
I hate that so much. Why do that?
It's a lot of work, but it's still, damn, these games are, well, not all of them, because I don't really give a shit about like tennis and stuff.
No, but Mario Odyssey
Mario
is
Odyssey is one of the best damn Switch games.
Yeah,
And it's probably the most fun I've had
is
in a Mario game in years and years and years.
so is New Super Mario Brothers Wii U Deluxe or whatever it's called, because I know people are going, oh, it's just another port of Wii U game. But hey, guess what? None of you played anything on the Wii U. That's why the Wii U bombed. So this is new
Super Mario
to
Brothers
like
U Deluxe
95%
is the
of the people out there.
side-scrolling, classic-styled Mario game, and Odyssey, I think, and you can be mad at me if you want, I don't give a shit, Odyssey is better than Breath of the Wild, objectively as a video game.
Yes, I think go on a side tangent here. I think Breath of the Wild, the only reason why it did as well as it did is because it has the Zelda name up in front of it. Beyond that, I found Breath of the Wild just dull. I want to try to give it another shot now that I know
I just got mad because weapons break. When I was playing Odyssey, I was constantly grinning at that damn game.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that's it.
Sorry
but yes,
for the
tangent.
David, we both hate the fact that Zelda's weapons broke.
We do.
Now, we have no idea if the next Zelda game is going to have that mechanic in there. And it's going to be a long, long time before we find out if they have learned their lesson or if they're just going to double down and essentially give us Breath of the Wild 2. So in the meantime,
we talking about the new one's going to be Link's Awakening remake.
Shut up, David. I'm trying to segue into new releases. What can we play between now and then?
Okay, let's talk about games you can play now or soon.
And yes, that Link's Awakening does look amazing. I'm all in on that one. I'm so looking forward to playing that one. God damn it, David.
Anyway, Ghost of a Tale comes out for PS4 and Xbox One. This is a third-person adventure stealth game. Okay, this game's been on Steam a while. It's got a very positive review, and it's fucking gorgeous. It's an action RPG game where you play as a little mouse called Tilo, and he's a minstrel. And you kind of sneak around through
I have heard of this.
Caverns and tunnels and outside, and you have to explore all these secrets, navigate all these dangers, and it looks kind of like a kid game, except for the graphics are amazing. The mouse is arguably really cute, but it actually looks kind of fun. And I don't even remember this game releasing.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this now. When you mentioned the mouse, it suddenly dawned on me. I was like, this sounds familiar. I can't say for certain. It does look kind of cool, though.
Yeah, but just take a look at the trailer, just because I think graphically it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
which is weird because it's this silly mouse stealth game.
It is on my wish list, and my wish list is like 100 titles long at this point, but it is on my list of games to get to eventually.
Perfect. Also coming out this week is the Caligula Effect Overdose for PS4, PC, and Switch. I'm going to do the thing I do a lot of these times, and I'm sorry, everybody, but this is a full-on anime JRPG in the sense that it is a game filled with, like, anime-drawed 2D characters that you talk to that bring text bubbles, and then you go outside and you fight monsters in an RPG fashion, and it's probably super story-heavy, and I know a bunch of you love these games, but I'm too old. I don't have time to get into RPGs anymore. It's got a storyline. Look, RPGs.
Really, it has.
At this point, they're all kind of
has a storyline. You say?
Yeah. At this point, they're all kind of the same to me. There's a million of these games that come out every week. It seems, especially if you're looking at all of the indie releases. This is people are in like some weird kind of mixed fantasy reality world. It's virtual. There's a reality created by a sentient program, and you relive your high school years, and you apparently like make friends and build a network so that you can fight. I don't know. It's some weird Persona mixed with Dot Hack mixed with every other game that I can't think of.
I believe this is a NIS game, so the people who know about it and are excited for Caligula Effect don't need any more convincing that they're going to buy it. Everyone else, you weren't going to buy it to begin with.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if this is your jam. I can't.
Hey, not everything needs to be for everyone.
It's so tough for me to hype this up. It just really is.
Okay, what else we got coming as you take
All right, also
swig
coming
there?
out, the Lego Marvel Collection for PS4 and Xbox One. This is a compilation of all the Lego Marvel superhero games. So Lego Marvel Superheroes, Superheroes 2, and Avengers in one package. Includes all of the DLC packs, so, you know, all the Black Panther content, all the Infinity War content, character level packs, everything.
We've talked about our love
Marvel
of Lego games before. This is no different.
They're great. They're all kind of the same, but if you happen to love the franchise that one's based on, you will enjoy it. None of them are bad games. They're best for younger players, and I kind of feel like if you've played one, you've played all of them, but again, if it's content you love, you might still dig it. You know, even if you played the old Star Wars one, the Batman one might be your jam because you like Batman.
Yeah.
Also, a game that definitely releases this week on the 15th, The Division 2 for PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
So one of those things that we hate is when they do the early access release.
Yep. Pay more and you play the game early. No. Pay more and you play the game on time.
Yes.
Pay regular price and you get screwed because the game companies don't love you.
Apparently the servers for this are actually up and live right now. Do not believe the spin. Ubisoft will say this game launches on the 15th, but if you buy the gold edition or higher, you get the access to this game right now. As David said, that is bullshit. This game is out now. You can pay money for it and have the full version. If you don't pony up the funds, you are fucked and have to wait 3 days to play it. They are punishing you with a delayed release date. It is not early access, it is delayed release. And do not let Ubisoft get away with that marketing bullshit. Once again...
Also, this is another one of the games where there's too many damn versions because you have the regular version, and then you've got, like, the gold edition, and you got the ultimate edition, which doesn't even come with everything, and you got, like, the Dark Zone edition that comes with the statue, and then you got the Phoenix Shield edition that comes with a different statue, and it's just...
It's all ridiculous. To answer your question, Introspect, I believe the gold version also comes with the 1 year season, or the year one pass.
Yes,
it
does come with the year one pass, and it comes with the actual day one access instead of the 3 day late access.
Yeah, and that just goes for everything good that Ubisoft does. They do some bullshit like this, and it just pisses me off. That said, I have played The Division 2 rather extensively. A month and a half ago, I played it for about 6 hours. Back a month and a half ago, it was really goddamn fun. So I can only imagine that the final product is good, and I'm hearing nothing but good things about it right now. It seems to be one of those rare cases, and I hate to say rare because it should be normal, where a games as service game has come out and actually has a lot of shit to do in it. But, of course, give it a few days, make sure the servers work just fine, wait for reviews to come out before you jump all in on it. But I will likely be playing this myself very soon.
Also, regarding the year one pass, yes, the DLC is stuff they're adding to the game so that they don't split the player base. What you get is 7-day early access to all the year one episodes. You also get bonus customization and activities, and it's probably the stupidest incentive to a video game I've ever fucking heard of.
Yeah, that is kind of
congratulations. You can access the DLC on time. Everybody else gets a week late.
Yep. that is our official stance on that.
If it's out and you can pay money for it, it's released and reviewable.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's the Division 2. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that game.
Yeah, I do want to play it.
It might do better than Anthem. Another game that I think might be really cool that's coming out this week is Rico. This game has a really whack release date. So Rico comes out on PS4 on the 12th, Xbox One on the 13th, Switch and Steam on the 14th. I have no idea why. But this is a online and local split-screen co-op game where you play as buddy cops, and it's basically like Door Kickers the game. You're shooting bad guys. You got 24 hours to crack a case, and you're an elite, organized, crime-fighting task force, and you basically kick in doors, and then the game goes to slow motion, and you shoot bad guys, and you try and figure stuff out. It looks like... Do you remember the game 13?
Yes, quite a bit.
Ubisoft back in the day?
Yeah.
I kind of get that vibe just from the graphics. It's got like that sort of Borderlands kind of cartoony look to it. And it has kind of this siege, let's break into a building and kill all the bad guys mentality. Every case operation level is completely randomly generated, so you got a new experience. It's got all new weapons, traits, abilities, enemies, all kinds of stuff to encounter and unlock. And again, this is a game with split-screen local co-op.
That's always
PS4,
nice.
Xbox, Switch, and Steam. You can also play it online, but for me... like old school couch co-op is something that we never see anymore, and I'm actually pretty stoked about it.
So I had no idea what this game was when I slapped it on here. Because I let you do the research, I just find the titles. I didn't know that Rico in this case was probably means racketeering. I thought it was thinking like that was some dude's name or something like that. But if it's Rico and you're actually law enforcement, it's more than likely the racketeering. It's like racketeering influenced and something. It's essentially what they used to bring down the mob.
There's a whole act on that.
Yeah. It's called the Rico Act.
Also coming out this week, we have Blood Waves for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is a violent, gory action survival game. It's been on Steam a minute. It's got kind of mixed reviews. It's basically a bloody horde shooter where you repel attacks of zombies. You make traps, you make barricades, and you got close and long-range contents. The character that you play looks like some weird Lara Croft fan art.
Here I was hoping this was going to be the sequel to Xbox exclusive Blood Wake.
Nope.
That's a shame.
Yeah, the character design is something that it seriously is like the way the 13-year-old would draw Lara Croft.
Okay, let's take a look at this now. So go on with the next one. Or this.
I just want to read this because this is one of their actual lines.
Okay.
Hardcore and bloody shooter, you will have to repel the attacks of the living dead using the destroying traps, defensive barricades, and also weapon of close and long range.
Weapon of close and long range. Guys, if you're... Hire a copy editor. Jesus Christ.
I just thought that was funny. I don't know. People don't seem to love it, but maybe it's fun, or maybe you just love horde-based shooter games, especially super violently graphic ones.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. I'm looking at the trailer. I see what you mean by the character design. It looks like someone went, I know, let's take Nathan Drake, make him a woman, and put him in a 90s PlayStation game.
That's why I was like, it's a weird Lara Croft like fan fiction video game where you fight zombies. And last but not least, probably One Piece World Seeker comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC this week. This is an action adventure game where you play a guy named Monkey D. Luffy in third person, and it's set in the Jail Island, which is apparently a place from this universe.
I know nothing about One Piece other than there's something with the pirate flag and the kid has a straw hat.
I think they're on a boat and the guy has a stretchy arms. But I may be confusing it with Stretch Armstrong. But you fight battles in an open world environment, which can be freely explored. It's got stealth elements. You can use some fancy techniques to see enemies from behind walls. And it's got stuff straight out of the anime, like a Gum Gum rocket and Gum Gum Bazooka, and apparently those are different things.
So I mock it because I don't understand it.
Oh, wait, you also use the legendary Gum Gum fruit to unlock hidden secrets. Apparently everything's Gum Gum related. So if you're into One Piece and you like whatever the Gum Gum is,
yeah. Once again,
Gum Gum hands on this.
If you love it, knock yourself out. Like I was going to say, I mock it because I don't understand it, but I'm sure that there are fans of this game right here. One Piece is a massively popular franchise.
It's way the hell more popular than we are, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I enjoy anime to an extent, but this is one of those things I've always looked at and just kind of went, I don't get it. But I also don't get why Pokemon is so popular either.
I mean, what's funny is when I watched the trailer, I thought it was like a weird sequel to that, what was that Xbox exclusive open world game that you kept telling me to play?
Sunset Overdrive?
Sunset Overdrive. I thought it was like a weird Sunset Overdrive sequel. I was like, oh, wait, this is based on an anime. Just because the art style, like the movement kind of remind me of it.
For sure. Well, David,
I think that's about it.
And with that, that brings us to the end of this show. This has been GamePoints episode 165, and thank you for watching. We do stream live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints every 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please come on, boy, and join the conversation, much like Introspect, who, by the way, did resub. I appreciate that. Darky Hugo, Salty Frank, Coco for Tacos. I saw you in here earlier as well. Thank you all for showing up. However, if you cannot join the show live, please feel free to go to youtube.com/GamePointsPC, where I put almost every show online, as well as a couple of rants, reviews, and other things, extended gameplay sessions from the Twitch channel up there. Regardless of where you're watching, feel free to comment, like, subscribe. If you want to support the channel anyway, please feel free to use that Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime sub account. But if you don't use it here, give it to your favorite streamer. It does go to waste if you do not use it, and you don't want Jeff Bezos keeping that Bezos money. He just ships it back to Planet Bezos. It's not good. It's not good for anyone. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePoints PC. You can follow myself, Steve Brown, at CapitalistPig21, and you can follow David there at Palshaf_Satori. If you want to write to the show, you can send your emails with questions, comments, concerns, any topics you might find to GamePointsPC@gmail.com. And if you want to join the greater community at large, feel free to join our Discord server. The link will be provided down below, either on our Twitch description or the YouTube description, wherever you happen to find it at. Without further ado, this has been Game Points episode 165, and until next time, we're out of here.